Hello everyone, welcome to SFC Markets and Finance. The 2024 Boao Forum for Asia annual conference took place in Boao on March 26. This year's conference will draw about 2,000 delegates from over 60 countries and regions, and more than 1,100 journalists from about 40 countries and regions. What are the highlights for today's agenda? SFC's Yang Yulai brings more. Hello, Yulai.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Boao Forum for Asia Annual Conference 2024. I'm SFC reporter Yulai Yang in Boao, Hainan Province. This year, the theme of BFA is Asia and the World Common Challenges, Shared Responsibilities. On the first day, the BFA released 2 annual reports. According to the Asian Economic Outlook and Integration Progress Annual Report 2024, the Asian economy's GDP in the world is expected to be 49% in 2024, which is projected to remain the region that contributes the most to global economic growth. According to the report, the economic growth rate of East Asia is expected to be the same as that of 2023 at 4.3%. South Asia's economic growth is anticipated to rise from 5.4% in 2023 to 5.8%, maintaining its positions as the fastest growing region in Asia. Meanwhile, Central Asia's economic growth is likely to decelerate to 4.3% from 4.5% in 2023, while the economic growth in West Asia is expected to rise to 3.5% from 2.5% in 2023. At the same time, the Sustainable Development Asia and the World Annual Report 2024 provides an overview of current state of Asia's power systems and the development of the electricity markets, noting that many Asian countries have great potentials in building zero-carbon power system. For more information, let's hand it back to the studio. Ino.
Thank you, Yulai. During today's conference, the wisdom of all parties shares their insights on China's economy, green energy, AI, and more.
I think China has good potential. Of course, this is a little more challenging year than has sometimes been the case, but the Chinese government has set a goal to grow at 5% over the next year, and I think that's likely to be achieved. One of the things that I'm particularly positive about is that the Chinese government, rather than just giving some money to a stimulus to people or to companies, has decided to give money for investment. Likewise, the Chinese government is giving some money to companies if they're willing to invest in plants and equipment. And that has an effect not just once, but a lot into the future. So I think this will really help China to be more successful. I think they'll make the 5% growth rate. And of course, 5%, while maybe low a bit for China, is pretty high compared to most countries in the world. So I think China is going to continue to be a growth engine. It's interesting to note that last year, 30% of world economic growth comes from China. I think this idea of new productive forces is really important. New productive forces is about helping China to change from being the factory of the world, producing things as cheaply and efficiently as possible, to adding much more value and being innovative. It's things like AI and the Internet of Things. It's things like what practices can managers implement in companies to drive innovation. It's things like trying to think about education systems. Can we change the way people are taught? Trying to encourage more creativity and innovative thinking as opposed to just memorization. No one can memorize facts better than the average Chinese person who's gone through the Chinese school system. Today, with the advancement of AI and the internet, that's not what's valued anymore. What's needed now is not hard work and memorization, but being able to think out of the box and creatively. And I think that this is something that China needs to do, and that will be another new productive force. AI is very important. It's surely transforming the way we do business, and step by step, it's going to come into all parts of the company. Probably short term, it's transformed efficiency more than innovation, but I think long term, it'll be important for innovation also. For example, we can find companies like a media group, where in Hefei, they have implemented AI in a factory. When you produce a dryer, which is what they make there, they listen to the sound and use AI to analyze that sound. And they can determine from the sound pattern if there is likely to be a problem with that machine or not. And if there is a problem with that dryer, then they will fix that. This has allowed them to decrease their defects of the dryers they make by 30%. Or you can look at Haier, the manufacturer also of different white goods in Tianjin. And there they've implemented AI to analyze the scheduling of different machines and also monitoring its energy usage. They can see when something is not working as smoothly as it could, and they can optimize the scheduling. This has helped to decrease by about 35% the energy they use and by decrease carbon emissions by about 37%, which has been really helpful. So I think it's really important that we try to get rid of tariffs. It's a little bit ironic that the US has been the big champion of low tariffs, has sort of started a little bit this trade war. But regardless of who started it, we need to get rid of it. Tariffs distort markets and make it so that things don't work the way they should. I think one of the ways to try to solve the problem is to focus more on things we could agree on. And environmental green transition activities is probably the thing that we can agree on most. You know, if someone pollutes in Europe, it hurts China. If someone produces in China, it hurts Europe. So we need to work on this together. And so this is a real opportunity. For example, I live in Norway, and in Norway we have a recent project of carbon capture. It's the largest carbon capture project in the entire world. This technology could benefit China. China also has great technology such as solar cells. We need to share these technologies to collaborate and from there move step by step to decrease tariffs and collaborate better.
When I saw the report, I was particularly interested in how the development of the power grid is evolving, because that's so essential for healthcare. I know this personally because I've worked for several years in Africa where we didn't have electricity, and that changes everything. So having a good electricity coverage is absolutely crucial for everything, not just healthcare, for the whole all-over economic development. And I'm particularly impressed how the Asian region is evolving towards a carbon zero policy. I think that's really very, very important. It gives an example to the whole world. First, I think there are lots of lessons learned or need to be learned from the way we managed COVID-19 as a global phenomena. So when you have to deal with a phenomena of this dimension, not everything works out the perfect way, so we have to think about what to improve. There are always lessons that need to be learned. And my impression is that the economy is recovering. You can also see this, or it is reflected in a way through the tourism sector. We saw this in the presentation, that the tourism sector is now growing again because people can travel. Traveling is the very base, not just for tourism, but for trade, building trade and international trading networks. I think things are moving towards a better way, the right direction. You know, when it's about international collaboration, I think the biggest challenge is actually the dialogue between two cultures. I think this is the most difficult step. It's not just the language, which is a barrier, but to understand different values and habits. So people need to know each other. Nothing goes very fast. You need to build trust and relationship between people who come from different cultures. And I actually think it's a very exciting adventure, because it's always interesting, at least for me, to learn about another culture. What's so special about China is that people are very hardworking, very visionary, very long-term strategic thinking, and very well organized. I think China is a very interesting phenomenon where people all over the world can learn from them. And as China is very interested in building international trading relationships, I think it's an opportunity for the whole world.
That's all for today's show. Thank you for watching. See you.